Hi, I'm Stephen Cohen, and this is another edition of Promote You. Before we start, I want to mention that we're obviously doing this at a very important time for our nation. There are protests happening across the nation right now, trying to fight for the lives of our Black citizens. While I stand by Black Lives Matter, I made the decision to still move forward and do this show as I'm not in a position to be involved with the protests. We'll also take a moment in the show to discuss the importance of self-promotion for civil liberties and to help people get out their voices. On tonight's show, we have a close friend of mine, Rebecca Kaplan. I'm very excited to have her on. She is someone who has a great deal of experience in a very short lifetime in promoting herself. So I'll bring her up. Rebecca, how are you doing? Good to see you.
Hey, as I told you earlier about like it being a bad time to schedule tweets, I just realized a scheduled joke tweet that I had done went out. Whoops.
Yeah. I don't think that there's anything to be done about it. I think that in a way, if your tweets are good and smart, that for the most part, they'll probably still come across well. And at any time, a message could be taken out of context. But it was very poignant of you to say that earlier, especially now that it's happened. Rebecca, thanks for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about your youth, about your childhood, where you come from?
Sure. I grew up in Brooklyn, and I still live there, and always wanted to like be involved with like writing and comedy stuff. So.
And you did it. You achieved it. You are very involved in writing and comedy stuff. Where did you go to college, and what did you go to college for?
I studied journalism and creative writing at Purchase College.
Okay. And why did you choose journalism? What made you want to go in that direction?
I don't know. I just took an intro to journalism class, and then the teacher found out that I was a creative writing major, and she was like, "Oh, but you're so good at journalism. Please stay."
That's pretty nice of her. That must have felt very good. And have you used journalism in your career after college? Has the education been helpful for you?
Yeah, I used to write for Tech Times, and I think journalism. There's like a lot of crossover between journalism and like PR and marketing stuff. So.
Okay, that's great.
I think anybody can benefit from like knowing how to do research.
Is that what journalism really is? Is it really just about research? I guess I never thought of it that way. Obviously, I haven't thought much of journalism at all.
It's not only about research, but that's like a huge part of it. Like, for current events journalism, it's like researching like what is happening right now.
Okay. That's great. I had never really thought about it that way. So as far as your post-college career, your first job outside of college was with Chicken Soup for the Soul?
Right.
Right. What made you decide to go with that job?
I don't know. They just offered it to me. I literally did not apply to that job, and
how did they find out about you if you didn't apply for it?
Well, like what happened is my mom saw like a call out for essays, and she was like, "Oh, that says that they're looking for essays from recent college graduates." And then I like wrote an essay about a really bad date that I had. And they responded to it like, oh, we looked at your LinkedIn profile and you fit this position we're looking to fill. Do you want to come in for an interview?
Okay, awesome. How was the experience there?
It's fine. I quit it because it was like a really horrible commute for me, and I didn't want to relocate to be closer to where their office was.
Okay, that's a good reason to leave. Was that when you began working for yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, and how many years have you been, if I'm allowed to ask, how many years have you been working for yourself?
Um, well, however many years you think this space looks like it can get away with.
A year. You've been working for yourself for a year. You're 23 years old.
Sure, let's go with that.
Okay. I think it's funny that people are so into holding on to youth. I know it's different for women than it is for men, obviously, but there's so much importance placed on it. And as I grow older, as I get closer to 40, I feel more and more comfortable. I'm really happy to be aging. I can't wait to be 90. I feel like you and I will both enjoy 90 years old much better than we enjoyed when we were 18. It's just a guess.
I don't know. When you're 90, your body hurts all the time.
Hopefully we'll be able to download our brains into computers by then. We'll see. Who knows? Who knows what'll happen? So as far as working for yourself, can you tell us a little bit about your current business that you run with educating people on technology?
Sure. I mean, I wouldn't call it a business. Those are your words.
They are my words. You've explained it to me, and it's totally a business, but fair enough.
I mean, it's a business in the sense that like I conduct business, I guess.
Yeah.
I like work as a freelance tutor, and I work with people and help them learn different software. And
Sure.
I mean, in addition to like other tutoring stuff.
Can you specify some of the softwares that you educate on?
Like Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word. I'll teach people anything. Like one time a guy contacted me to like tutor him in like how to deliver like comebacks.
What?
Yeah, I mean, he contacted me through like I have a profile on a website called Wyzant, and like anybody can contact me. And he was like, I want to know how to do comebacks, and I was like, I don't know if you can, I don't know if you can like that's a skill that you can learn. But I met him, and he was very happy with what I told him.
You're a very good comeback artist. I'm very excited to roast you on Wednesday. You're a very funny roaster, and I'm sure you'll make some insightful comments about my personality and my looks. So that should be fun. That's Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. No, Eastern Standard Time. Sorry. Yeah, 2 a.m. is way too late for me. Probably okay for other people, not for me. So, you have that business going on. When did you start doing stand-up comedy?
I don't know. I did my like first open mic in college. Daniel Laitman was running a stand-up comedy club.
Okay, he's very funny. And what got you to continue doing that? What was it about stand-up comedy that made you want to make it a part of your life?
I don't know. I think working at Chicken Soup for the Soul, I ended up reading like a ton of essays about people that just pursued their dreams and whatever. And I was like, I think I think I may as well try this. And if I fail, then at least I tried it a few times.
And you haven't failed yet. Maybe a couple of short-term failures, but have you found that bombing on stage has been helpful for you in learning about yourself?
Like, when you like have a show and you like don't do particularly well, but then like all of the comics in the back of the room are laughing. I
Hmm.
feel like that's happened to me a lot, and Paul Choi gave me some like really good advice to like not be a comic. Like I was being a little bit too gross, I think.
Okay.
So I took Paul's words to heart.
Okay, nice. Paul Choi is another comic friend of ours who is also a, professional graphic designer, I guess is his position.
You're
I would love to have him on the show too, but I think he works 90 hours a week right now, so we'll just leave him be.
yeah.
So, getting into your literary magazine, what year did the Furious Gazelle begin?
We started it in, I believe, October 2013.
Okay, and who did you start it with?
My co-editor is E. Kirsch.
Okay, and how did you all get started?
Um, we just we just decided to start a literary magazine, and we have like a naming system where it's like adjective plus animal is like a funny name.
Sure,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah, so and then like we didn't buy the domain name initially. We just had it like set it up like as a WordPress site. And then I think like once we had been doing it for about 6 months or a year, I was like, well, let's make this like legit. So I bought like a server space and and the domain name, and I set that up.
Okay, and do you follow the analytics on the website? Do you follow the growth on that?
Yeah, we've got. I mean, I could like pull up our stats for like the past week right now. We've been getting like about I'd say like 100 hits per day.
Okay, nice. What was, and you can think about this while you're looking that up, but what was the goal in starting Furious Gazelle? And do you feel like you've got into that goal or you're going in the direction you originally wanted?
Yeah, I mean, our goal was just to like showcase kind of like what the types of writing that we enjoy. So like E. Kirsch and I have maybe like I guess I would say like a really eclectic sensibility. Um, so like we aim to like publish a lot of like every like we publish like a really wide range from like kind of like quirkier stuff to like really like heartfelt dramatic essays to like just really anything.
So would you say that the goal was to simply publish type of writing that you enjoy reading?
Um, we just wanted like to have a home on the internet where you could go to find like a really like wide range of stuff where you don't like necessarily know what tone the thing is going to be, but it'll be like to a certain like standard of like excellence.
Okay.
Like a lot of literary magazines have like a very, very specific voice that they like only publish like that, thin range. And we just wanted to be a little bit different from that.
Okay. And as far as the promotion of this website, when did you begin promoting it? Did you start right away? Did you build up some, I don't know, product isn't the right word, some stories for people to read before you started getting the word out?
Yeah, we initially started with an ad on Craigslist.
Okay.
We got a lot of very weird submissions from that, but some were good. So we like and we also solicited to our writer friends like my friend Catherine Weingarten very graciously let us publish her short play Fatina.
Okay.
So we just kind of said I think that might have been the very first thing that we published, and then we like put the call out and got some more.
Okay. And how much did you spend on that first Craigslist advertisement?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. So it was just a free post.
Right, exactly.
Okay, cool. All right. And as far as getting people to go to the website and learn about the website, how have you gotten word out about the website?
Um, yeah, so a lot of people right now are finding like we've gotten to a point where we rank in like searches for like literary magazines submissions. So a lot of people find us like we have like a popular Halloween writing contest. So
Okay.
we'll like,
I
maybe
guess what I'm asking, if I can cut in, is how did it become popular? What were the steps that you put into place for promotion to get it there? I just so that it's not a rest of the owl situation where it's like, well, we started it and now it's doing great, which it is. Congratulations. What did you put into place to bring it to where it is?
sure. I guess the most important thing we did was like we made the site look really good. Like so it was on WordPress initially, but we like set it up like looking really nice as a
Okay.
WordPress site. And I think like one of like the earliest cool things that happened was like Neil Gaiman had like started a thing for like All Hallows Read, so we like put out a call for submissions from that, and like I tweeted from the Furious Gazelle account at like a published author that I admired, like, hey, everyone go read this guy's book, and he actually submitted to that
Oh, wow.
for a contest.
Okay.
And then like so we basically just kept up like a really consistent publishing calendar for like the first year. Like we published once a week every Friday, I think, and then like the following year we did the Halloween contest. Like we put out a call for a contest, so we like invested like $25 each into like prize money, and we just promoted the hell out of that contest. It
Okay.
was free to enter, $50 cash prize.
That's great. So a word that has come up on every single one of the interviews I've had so far just came up, consistency. Uh, Consistency seems to be one of the most important things possible. Just showing up and showing up when people expect you to show up so that they know when to show up. Uh, how important is consistency for you? Do you feel like that's the most important part of self promotion? Do you feel like there's something more important than that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, like the Furious Gazelle has been around at this point for like 7 years, and just having a thing that has 7 years worth of like consistent effort.
Hmm.
I don't have to try as hard on self promotion anymore. Not that like I don't put in effort, but like there's kind of a thing like if you front load a lot of effort, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a really good thing for anyone trying to learn to self promote is if you put in energy up front and then you continue to keep the energy going, it just gets easier. With the new show, the new game show that I started at first, every single week I was freaking out beforehand trying to get things together. But now that I know exactly what I need to get together, I can do it pretty quickly and pretty easily. It's nothing frightening. As far as the really nice website, you said that you wanted to make sure you had a really nice website. I
Yeah.
think that I feel like I go to a lot of websites that are horrible. They're upsetting to view. I immediately want to close the window. What do you think is a nice website? What are some important things to you when you go to a website?
Yeah, I think just like generally like good UX design like is especially for something where you're going there to read content, like is the content easy to read?
Okay.
Um,
What
like,
else is important about user experience for you?
hmm?
What else is important about user experience for
Oh,
you?
I think just have like yeah, everything like having clear, like text that's clear and like, you know, big enough to read, and you know, like in a color that contrasts enough from the background.
Absolutely.
There's a contrast checker tool to that you could use to like check that.
Do you have a favorite? Oh, what is the contrast checker tool called?
It'll come up if you just Google contrast checker. There's Americans with Disabilities standards for like accessibility standards for website, and one of them to make your like site ADA compliant is to have, like it has to have a text of a certain size and like color contrast.
Do you have any favorite fonts for websites?
I'm a fan of like using Google fonts. They have like if you go there, every like text, every font that they have has like kind of like a readability score and a score for how quickly the font file loads on your site.
That's excellent. That's very, very helpful information. Thanks, Rebecca.
Yeah.
As far as sorry, let me just take a step back and read a note that I have. Well, what's your advice for someone who's doing what you did? What's your advice for someone who's starting an online publication, or any kind of, you know, online company?
I think, you know, just having a really clear voice or message for what you're trying to do. Like, you know, if you're trying to start like a cooking blog, it's not really like enough to just call it a cooking blog. You know, it's better, like the more specific you can make your niche, the better. You know, like, is it your Peruvian food cooking blog, or like, are you trying to brand it around yourself as being like a quirky and fun person that like, I don't know, is like a college student doing like microwave meals, like that kind of thing.
Okay, that's great. Also, you've done paid critiques of work. How did you get started with that?
Yeah, so we just put out a call for you know, for that like advertising, or actually I think somebody initially like approached me. Like we've been doing a thing where like since we started this, where like if somebody like asks for a little bit of feedback on their piece, we'll give it, or sometimes we just offer it. And somebody like was just like asking for advice, and I said like, well, you know, if you want to work with me privately, I could do it for like X amount of money. And she like, you know, to my like surprise, she said yes. And then I was like, oh, like we could actually like do this. You know, I think like a big part of like self-promotion for me, like that I doesn't come like totally naturally to me, is like having like the confidence to like put yourself out there for things that you're qualified to do, but don't necessarily feel like you're qualified for.
You and I have personally discussed this on several occasions.
Yeah.
We've both gone through time periods of low expectations in ourselves and how people view and see us, and we've both had to work our ways through that. Self-promotion is obviously a situation where you have to either really believe that you are worth it, or to, at the very least, fake it until you make it. What are some tips for people that want to do something, that want to get into something that is going to highly involve self-promotion, but they don't quite believe in themselves as much as the people around them believe in them?
Yeah, I think just like lie to yourself if you have to.
What lies have you told yourself?
I feel confident. Like I have pretty like naturally like low self-esteem. So, you know, I don't think that, you know, like I do like think that I'm qualified to give critiques, and I've gotten like really good feedback on them. But I think like just telling yourself the lie that you can achieve whatever you want to achieve if you like just put that energy out there.
And the funny thing is, that's not a lie. You can achieve whatever you want to achieve.
Yeah.
It's possible. It might not happen, but you could do it. So it's funny that you said the lie, but you're a very funny person. That's why you're a comedian.
Right. Well, I think the
Um,
point is like if you just put that energy out there, whether you believe it or not,
mhm.
and if you like just tell people that lie, like eventually you like will start to believe it if you get like the good feedback. And if you get bad feedback, I don't know, maybe it was true, maybe like you should quit.
You know what, Rebecca? I don't usually disagree with my guests, but no, if you get bad feedback, I think you should go back and edit. It's like
Mm,
you said, you want to create a good website. Well, you didn't create a good website. Go back and look. I mean, you created a great website,
right.
but if you didn't, go back and look at the website and try to figure out what's wrong with it and what's not working and fix it. But if
Yeah.
you keep getting the bad feedback and you keep fixing things, maybe you're right. Maybe there is something for you.
Yeah. No, I don't think I was joking. I don't think you should ever quit if your goal is like our initial rejection letter for the Furious Gazelle said it had a line in it like don't despair. William H. Macy tried and failed like 30 times before creating the iconic Macy's department store. And we had like a bunch of different lines like that we like would cycle through.
Wait, they said William H. Macy started the Macy's store?
Oh, is that an actor?
Yeah, William H. Okay, fair enough. The person who started Famous Amos also had like 40 failed companies before he got to Famous Amos cookies. So fair enough. That's fantastic. I don't know if you're joking or not, but do you have anything else you want to mention about Furious Gazelle before we start talking about social media?
Well, sorry, it's not William H. Macy, it's R.H. Macy. I guess William H. Macy is probably
Do,
the actor that stars in
do
this.
Did you know
Yeah,
that the red star, the 5-pointed star for Macy's, comes from the founder's tattoo? He was a sailor.
I did not.
True, true or false?
He could be a sailor.
It's true. That really comes from his tattoo from being a sailor. It's true. So social media. You've managed
Oh
social
wait, sorry.
media.
One more thing about the Furious Gazelle.
Please.
Our spring contest is currently open. Please submit. It's free to enter, but if you want to support our contest with a $5 donation, we will happily take that. And we're also offer for $8 you can submit your thing, and we will, if we don't accept it, we'll give you a page of personalized feedback on that.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna submit then. I can't wait for that page of feedback.
Okay.
So on social media, you've managed social media accounts for your personal career and also for business. Chicken Soup for the Soul, I know, is one of them. Obviously, Furious Gazelle. Are there any other businesses you want to mention that you've managed? I know some of them you're not allowed to.
Yeah, I mean, I've recently done like the Camp Brooklyn Fund and Camp Bronx Fund.
Okay, great. And as far as managing for yourself versus for businesses, what are the differences?
Yeah, so like one of the biggest differences is that if you're working on a business with a team of people, you can't just think of a thing and then post it, because you might, if multiple people have access to that account, you want to make sure that your efforts are coordinated.
Sure.
And usually, like if you're kind of a lower level person in the company or you're just getting started, you'll have somebody, like you'll kind of submit a social media calendar and have them like approve it.
Okay.
And I think like that's not a bad idea to do for yourself, because if you get into the habit of like only posting things like just right when you think of it, you might end up with like more spelling mistakes, or kind of like repeating yourself, or maybe like not hitting the things that you wanted to.
Sure.
So if you get like a calendar going, you can kind of like plan it out a little bit and kind of like have more of like a consistent, like right at this moment, I don't think I have any more posts. I decided to not schedule any more tweets until the current situation is like more resolved. But yeah, usually I schedule my tweets.
Okay. I schedule my tweets and get help from you on writing my tweets. This is for the audience. I know you know this, Rebecca, so you don't need to give me a funny look. Rebecca helps me to do rewrites, to do edits, just to generally say, Stephen, that's a horrible idea. You don't want people to see that on the internet in conjunction with your brand. Thank you so much for doing that, Rebecca. Now, you do that as well with a group of people. You'll write out a joke and just pass it on to people just to make sure. You don't rely on the group as much as I rely on you, obviously. But is that useful? Is that similar to what you were doing when you had to run by your tweets and your posts with someone else at a company?
Yeah, I think it's really a really good idea. Like if you're posting like a joke or something, to just run it by at least one person, because something that makes sense to you like might not make sense to another person. And, like I'm a really big believer in getting feedback, whether it's purchasing feedback from me, please hire me, or getting a trusted friend to like look over what you do.
I'm really proud of you. That's the first time anyone during the show has asked to be hired. It's called Promote You. Everybody should be asking to be hired during it. So apparently you've overcome those days of low confidence. What is a social media manager? I've talked to plenty of them. I've had some actually work for me. But can you break it down for us, what a social media manager is and does?
Sure, they're just like the person that usually they create the schedule of posts.
Mm-hmm.
They might decide which platforms to use for the company. And then anything that goes along with that. I often they'll, if the company has like a newsletter that goes out, they might be in charge of that, or email marketing stuff.
Okay. And as far as an audience goes, obviously you're trying to write on social media to get society's attention in some way or another. How do you decide what your audience is? And if you're getting the wrong audience, if you're not getting the audience you're looking for, how do you decide whether or not you're going to pivot away from those people, or you're going to pivot towards this new audience that you're getting?
I mean, you can't always 100% predict who the audience will be for what you're doing. All you can do is try to think about who you think your audience should be, and what kind of thing you think they will enjoy.
Sure. Who is your audience as a comic?
I mean, a lot of my audience on Twitter seems to be kind of men and maybe women that think similarly to me.
Okay, so both genders of people that think similarly to you. Is there an age range that you find you're capturing, or is it all over the place?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked at my demographic information on Twitter.
Okay.
I mean, I can see I mean, I can take a quick look at it.
Okay, you can put it in the comments after the show. It's okay. Yeah. As far as who you're writing for, who do you feel like you're writing your jokes for? Who are you tweeting to?
Yeah, I mean, I write when I'm writing tweets, or just jokes in general, I'm writing them for just myself. But then I think, I kind of write without a filter. And then where my audience comes in is when I stop to like think about like, well, like would other people enjoy this? Like, is this going to offend like people? Like there's a lot of things that I probably like would like if I had no filter, my Twitter feed would probably just read like an angry, shrill feminist.
Okay.
But I try to like only I try to like only tweet stuff about like women's issues when I can think of like a really good like joke boat to like put around it where it's like, clear that I'm not like attacking individual people that disagree with me, but I'm like, maybe satirizing a situation.
Okay, that's great. So back to the question of audience. After everything's said and done, who do you feel like you're writing for? Who are you attempting to capture as followers and as people in your closer audience that you communicate with on a regular basis?
Yeah, well, like one really cool thing like with Twitter that I've been discovering is just like connecting to other comedians, and in some cases like in different cities. So that's been really awesome, and I wasn't trying to do that; it just kind of like happened organically. But I think like the people that I am trying to like get to engage with are people that are like fans of comedy that might be interested in like watching my stupid videos on YouTube and coming out to see my shows. Like,
Your stupid videos are still very smart. You have very smart stupid videos, Rebecca. Everyone, if you get a chance, please go check out her recent one, which is based off the song Friday Night. It's very funny. Rebecca, as far as running into people that don't like your material, that are verbal about it, how do you approach, and we're not talking about people that are just coming on to be jerks, but just online criticism from someone. How do you handle that as a business, and how do you handle that as a comic?
Yeah.
They're probably very different.
Oh yeah. As a business, you never want to ignore it when people are like attacking you, you always like want to be very polite. Like JetBlue is like a really good example of like they respond to like every single tweet. Like you can tweet the stupidest thing at JetBlue and they will respond to it. As like a person, I tend to ignore it if I feel like the person is coming from a point of like fundamentally like not understanding or just being kind of a jerk about what I was saying.
Okay. And can I ask what your reasoning is behind just letting that go and moving on?
Yeah, I kind of feel like so I did a tweet like I think last week where I was like, K, I hate you, KK, I am a little bit angry, and then like KKK, texting like a teenage girl. And I think like that tweet did pretty well, and it's clear to me that if I'm saying like the letters K as like 3 times as in like okay, I'm not referencing the KKK, but
Sure.
like
You also get into it in capital letters. It was all small letters.
It was all small letters, and like in the context, it was like a list of like things saying okay.
Yeah.
But like I think 2 people replied like as if I had purposely meant to invoke the KKK, and I just ignored it because like it's like I don't have anything to add to it. I'm not going to delete that tweet because like 2 people saw me write like the letter K 3 times and thought that I meant the Ku Klux Klan.
Right. Absolutely. Final question before we move on to some fun, dumb questions is how did you decide on what platforms you're posting on?
Yeah, so I think generally like it's kind of it's like each platform is its own like has its own set of like rules and like algorithms and is its own kind of like beast with like a lot of effort. So usually like the advice is that you should pick one platform to invest like the lion's share of your energy in. And I kind of like just picked Twitter because Facebook kind of scares me because a lot of my relatives and like older family friends follow me on it, and it's like I don't know, I just feel shy about posting stuff there. And Instagram, like I'm not like I am a 20 something girl, but I'm not like gonna just like put on a bikini, and I feel like that's what Instagram wants.
A little bit. I think that they want visuals at the very least. And I also find Instagram to be very difficult because I just don't have a visual mind. I'm thinking about pacing, I'm thinking about structure of words. It's very frustrating for me too. Have you found Twitter to be a lot more useful for you than those other two platforms?
Yeah, like I also like I'm not very visual, and I really like just having like a stray thought and being able to tweet it without having to think about like what visual do I need to pair this with.
Yeah.
And I've been getting like, I feel like social media is so fickle that like as soon as I say I'm doing well on Twitter, I'm gonna stop doing well on Twitter. But I've been like getting a good response.
Okay, great. And you have been getting a great response. In fact, on my show last night on Instagram Live, a comic said that you were specifically killing it on Twitter. So congratulations. That was Meg Felling, wonderful lady.
Yeah, I love Meg.
She loves you too. So with our last 3.5 minutes, I just gonna ask some dumb questions about you just so people can know a little bit more about you. So I know that you're lactose intolerant. I apologize for this next question, but what's the best pizza that you've ever had?
Probably Jafara's in Brooklyn.
Where is that? What neighborhood?
It's on Avenue J.
Okay, fair enough. You've lived in Brooklyn your entire life, except for going away for college. What is it about Brooklyn that keeps you there? Why haven't you given Manhattan a try? Why haven't you, gone off to anywhere else?
Anybody that lives in Manhattan, like, probably sucks. I don't know.
Man, I hope nobody watches 42 minutes and 20 seconds into this because you're gonna lose some Manhattan followers. Those Manhattanites love you. Okay.
Well, Manhattan is just like more, like tends to be more expensive per. I did live in Manhattan, and you know what? Manhattan has like a lot of rats and mice and cockroaches. Okay.
You lived in Manhattan? Whenever I ask you, no, I've always lived in Brooklyn except for college. The truth comes out. We get to the bottom of things. I should have gotten a journalism degree. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I was living in Harlem for like a few months, and just like, well, technically Spaha, but
oh god. Let's move on from this. Spaha. Yeah. I can't believe they started calling Spanish Harlem Spaha. What are your stand-up comedy goals when we get back?
The world is going to be so drastically different in 6 months from what we could possibly imagine right now that I don't have any specific goals.
Okay.
I'm just, making the best of each day.
Fair enough. You absolutely are. Is there anything else you want to promote or let people know about?
You can follow me on Twitter at Rebecca T. Kaplan, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's in my Twitter bio.
Awesome. And if you don't mind going back in and just posting a comment on the episode so people can see it. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for joining us. You are delightful as always, and I hope you stay safe over the next few days and upcoming months as we work our way through the coronavirus and these protests.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks, buddy. I just cut her off. I always do that. So next week, we're going to have Brett Singer on. Brett has had a very long career in marketing, specifically with Broadway. He also has run his own daddy blog. helping single fathers and also helping stay-at-home dads be better dads. So that'll be a lot of fun. He's also a really funny comic and friends with Rebecca and myself. Thank you all so much again for watching another episode of Promote You. If you have any thoughts or ideas, please reach out to me. If you'd like to be on the show, please let me know. Thank you very much. Have a great day. I can't hit the button. There it is.